virtual town hall, where renowned thought leaders and engaged citizens come together for meaningful discussions that spark ideas, promote responsible leadership, and advance good governance for our beloved nation. Hosted by Pastor Itwai Godalo, President and Founder, this series reflects his vision, which is to promote the emergence of real, ethical, and accountable leaders for good governance, not just in Nigeria, but across the continent. We are a non-religious, non-partisan, non-political organization powered by people just like you, individuals whose vision align with ours to drive sustainable development across Africa. At the non-political real mentorship program powered by people project management courses, individuals civic awareness and citizens engagement to drive sustainable development. Our School of Leadership and Governance offers stellar opportunities in leadership training, capacity building, and social development. Is designed to empower and support entrepreneurship in underserved communities. In collaboration with civil society partners, we are building a coalition for participatory governance that works at the grassroots level to strengthen good governance and effective administration at the local government. We invite you to join us on this journey as we lay the bricks one at a time in building a resilient and formidable Africa. Please join us every Thursday at 5 p.m. West African time, live on Zoom. The meeting link is the same, simple, consistent, and open to all. Also, stay connected and inspired all week long and follow us on all our social media as posted here. Mark your calendars, invite a friend, and let's grow together. The Nigeria Leadership Series Town Hall, building leaders, celebrating unity, and shaping Africa's future. See you again next Thursday at 5 p.m. right here on Zoom.
Warm greetings and welcome to today's African Leadership Group, the Nigerian Leadership Series. My name is Itwa Igodalo, and we're talking today on the challenges of security, or challenges of insecurity in our nation. Way forward and expected outcomes. The challenges of insecurity or the challenges of security in our nation, Nigeria, the way forward and the expected outcome. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry about that. Our guest today is a Nigerian American attorney, a tech entrepreneur, an accountant, and a civic reform advocate. He is a founding partner of Banwo and Igokwe LLC, USA, and also the founder and the CEO of Mobisoft 360 Incorporation. He's the chancellor of the American Internet Business School and the Fearless Netpreneur Group USA, where he equips young and old people across the world to build profitable, legal, digital businesses and global careers. He was admitted to the Nigerian Bar, the New York Bar, the U.S. Federal District Court of Nebraska, and he brings a rare cross-border lens on governance, security, law, and nation building. He's also the author of Bold One Country 7-book series focused on tracking issues in several of our core sectors. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you very much. Several of our core sectors. Okay. And so on and so forth. He founded Niger Lives Matter in 2011 as a citizen engagement platform focused on accountability and so on and so forth, reform advocacy, and solutions-driven public education. And he leads the Fish for Life initiative, a non-profit empowerment movement that teaches people sustainable digital skills for income, independence, and long-term prosperity. Please welcome with me Dr. Okwe Banwo. Dr. Banwo, how are you? Good to see you. How is life? Which part of the world are you in?
I'm in Nebraska right now. I'm in my house.
Omaha, Nebraska.
Yes, sir.
Where the wizard lives.
Yes, so
the Wizard of Omaha.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you and him are neighbors.
Well, not too far from each other. You know, it's a multi-billionaire. Me, I'm still trying to make a little money too. We are like 5 minutes from each other, but not too far.
He's an inspiration to all of us. I'm sure you're a multi-billionaire in the making.
Amen. If the pastor said it, then definitely it's coming to pass. Thank you, sir. Sorry about your cold. Too much money.
Amen. God bless you. Well, it just
sometimes
came now. You know, I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
I think it's more like a slight hay fever.
Too much money can cause it sometimes.
Too much money brings cold.
It can cause kata.
Hallelujah. How's the family? I hope everybody's good.
Yeah, they are fine. Thank you so much. I appreciate you inviting me today.
Yeah.
Really an honor. Yep.
Yeah, thank you for all your advocacy on Nigeria and things like that.
Yes, sir.
We haven't seen for some time since we haven't really sat down.
Yes.
Since the Dove Media, this and that.
Yeah, we see, but we have not really sat down.
You remember that?
It's true.
To yes, talk sir. Properly.
We will.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No problem. Yeah. Today I'm going to just kick off very quickly.
Yes.
And then I'm going to hand over to Jumoke and Sonny to drill down on the questions. And then I'm going to butt in from time to time so that we can have a very good session. I know you really love Nigeria. I know you're an advocate for Nigeria. Maybe you can just give us a background as to how you started a lot of your advocacy, Niger Lives Matters, and so on and so forth. And just give us a rough background of how that came about and what propelled you to get involved, and then give us your own synopsis and your own idea of the present state of security or maybe the present state of insecurity in Nigeria at this point in time? And what do you think has led us to this position? Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Pastor. I appreciate it. And thank you for inviting me. You are doing an excellent job for the nation, especially with your consistency in continually bringing this and having this conversation. And I also want to appreciate Jumoke and your entire team for thinking me worthy to bring to this special platform. She told me I have 35 minutes to make my presentation, and then we'll go to questions quickly. Yes, I've always been somebody who is conscious about his environment and feels that no matter how well any of us are doing, we need to give back to the environment. We need to care about what is happening in our nation. And no matter the passport we carry, Nigeria remains our primary country. Even as Trump keeps reminding all of us here that we don't belong. So we have to be very interested in our country. So I've been doing this for a while. 2011 is actually when I got very aggressive about it. And incidentally, it was over the issue of Jonathan trying to succeed the late Yaradua and all the problems that came with that. I felt that at some point I have to stop working in the background and really need to come out and really get involved in an organized way. And that's when I set up a Nigeria Lives Matter. Actually, before Nigeria Lives Matter, I actually have a NEVO, which is Nigerian Election Vigilantes Organization, which was basically to monitor elections, register with UN and all that. Then I realized that monitoring election is not just it. You have to be involved in a holistic manner. So we transitioned to Nigeria Lives Matter. And we've been involved practically in every election, either supporting one candidate or the other. Although this time around, we're not supporting anybody. We've decided that we're just going to be for Nigeria. So essentially, that's really what it is. And the more you dig into it, the more you feel that, well, you also have to contribute your part. It's one thing to be criticizing, to be complaining. What is your solution to the problem? What are you doing at your own little level to even help solve problems in Nigeria? And that is how we register Nigeria Lives Matter as an NGO in the US and also in Nigeria. And we do many things. The one that we are known for mostly is the Fish for Life program, where we actually run free quarterly training Nigerians on digital self-empowerment mostly, and also helping people to get started and to get themselves situated in life. So we've been doing this of recent, of course. We've been very, very vocal on the political situation in Nigeria, because at my age now, and after 60, I've decided that that's the only place you can dedicate yourself to how to think. Since I'm not a politician, I don't plan to go into politics, then let me commit my brain, my energy into thinking solutions, into criticizing solutions, into being a thinker, while we also allow the doers, the politicians, and those who are actually actively doing it to also do their work, because everybody has to play their part. You are playing your part, not just as a pastor, but as a national leader, hosting this thing every week. I can imagine what it takes you to do that. Even right now, you are obviously not feeling too good, but you're here. Every Thursday, you bring it. And I cannot but just appreciate you. So let me quickly go into the topic I've been given before we go into the Q&A to speak on the challenges of insecurity, the way forward, and the expected outcomes. That's the topic I've been given to take a few minutes, like 30 minutes to talk on. So I'm just going to get to it. I'm going to keep it at the time I've been given, and I've timed myself now to 30 minutes. The first 5 minutes is gone already into introduction. So here's what I'm going to say. You already know me before you invited me. I say it as it is. So let's not get it twisted. Nigeria is not dealing with insecurity the way a man deals with a stubborn headache. We are dealing with a national security system collapse, the kind that makes citizens sleep with one eye, okay, and then travel with prayer as their seatbelt. See, in November 21, all of us know all of this stuff. November 21st this year, gunmen stormed St. Mary's Catholic School in Papiri, Niger State, and abducted 303 students and 12 teachers. 315 souls in one night. About 50 escaped so far from what we are told, but over 260 of them remain in captivity. And now we have the government of Nigeria actually shutting down schools, 47 of them across the region, to prevent repeat disasters. I mean, this is not an isolated nightmare, people. Since the Chibok tragedy in 2014, at least 1,618 school children have been kidnapped nationwide. When schools become hunting grounds for terrorists, a country is no longer developing. It is bleeding its future away. Because when a nation can't protect its children, every other achievement is a lie written in capital letters. I focus on the children in this opening because that is the one that really bleeds my heart. So let's get into it. I'm going to approach this in the short minutes I have in three major ways. I'm going to talk about the nature of the beast. What are we really dealing with? Then we're going to talk about the other parts. But first, let's take that first part. As I studied this thing, it became clear that Nigeria now lives with 4 distinct and 4 different overlapping security wars. We're not dealing with one war. Or what I would like to call Nigeria's quadra-headed security wars, even though nobody is using those terms yet, is what I'm going to keep pushing out there. We are dealing with a quadra-headed security war here. Though our leaders are not really calling it 4-dimensional, which is what it is. And these are the 4 dimensions we are fighting right now, whether we recognize it or not. Number 1, we have the kidnap for ransom industrial complex war. Okay, SBM intelligence reports tell us that 4,722 people were abducted in 997 incidents in the last 1 year, July 24 to June 2025. And in that period, kidnappers demanded 48 billion and collected verified payments of 2.7 billion naira. That's verified. It's probably more than 20 times that, because most of it, as we know, are not stated. We have terror. That's war number 1 that we're fighting. The second war, the security war we're fighting, is terror insurgency war, which is the Boko Haram ISWAP angle that has killed over 40,000 and displaced nearly 2 million people since it started in 2009 or thereabout. Then we have the number 3 insecurity war that we're fighting, banditry and communal wars. This is the one that turns farms into graveyards and highways into toll gates run by criminals. Most of what we are seeing in the North Central has to do with banditry and communal wars. And then we have the 4th war, which is the one that all of us are talking about a lot, especially those of us who are Christians. We have the religiously inflected violence war. This sometimes targeted, sometimes it's opportunistic, but it is always politically explosive. It targets mostly Christians in many parts of the North. And unfortunately, it is one of the most, is the one that most of us are focusing on, to the neglect of the equally deadly insecurity wars, as if that's the only insecurity war we are dealing with. I've been studying this stuff. We're not dealing with just genocide. It is there, but that's just 1 out of 4 wars. Because genocide has got nothing to do with the kidnap for ransom industrial complex war that we've been fighting for decades. It's got nothing to do with the terror insurgency war of the Boko Haram ISWAP. Boko Haram ISWAP don't care. Okay? They will kill anybody that doesn't support them. The banditry and communal wars has got nothing to do with the genocidal war. So it's 4 wars. Because like I always say, when you misdiagnose the problem, you're going to misdiagnose the solutions. That's what they teach us in Nato Anderson, and I'm sure Pastor Tua can relate to this very well as a consultant. But again, I also agree that when one fire is burning your roof, and another is burning your kitchen, and another one is burning your garage, arguing which flame is hotter or which part of the building is really burning is a luxury for people who have spare houses. You're just going to try to put out the fire, whatever anybody like, let them call it. You just want the fire to be gone from your house. But I like to diagnose issues before we then begin to yap and talk about, to each other about it. So the second level I want to approach this a topic I've been giving is, let's talk about the hot buttons Nigerians are screaming about. We have to confront it, either dispel it or confirm it. We have several odd buttons here that we need to deal with as thinkers, the perpetuals of this world, myself, people who like to talk about the situation. One of the odd buttons is Nigerian government complicit? See, across the country, citizens whisper a dangerous question. Do some people in power know too much and do too little? Now I have to be responsible because I know where I am. This is the African Leadership Forum. I'm not just going to come here and throw stuff anywhere. I do not stand here with courtroom grade evidence, at least until 3 days ago, to declare state complicity as a proven fact, even though I would declare it now. But I will say this: patterns of repeated abductions, weak arrests, slow rescues, public ambiguity from our leaders create a credibility crisis for any government. And then 2 or 3 days ago, Bayo Onanuga laid our mind to rest. This is no longer us thinking maybe. We know now on this part that does the government know too much and doing too little? It's a fact now. It's no longer a whisper, because we have a top official in government who came out and said, one, we know who the terrorists are. We have their phone numbers. We even spoke to them a few days ago to release some people to us, and they did. We know where they live, but we don't want to go and attack them because of collateral damage. So we know the government know too much, but right now they are doing too little. A second odd button is, are we dealing with genocide or are we dealing with equal opportunity terrorism? I mean, this is not really an academic debate anymore. It's an emotional national wound that really, really hurt somebody like me. International voices, including US conservatives, are describing Nigeria as a Christian genocide area, while Nigerian government rejects that framing and notes that victims cut across faith lines, because everybody keeps thinking we're fighting one insecurity war. That's why I took time to identify the 4 different ones. I myself am conflicted on how to characterize this, whether it's genocide or equal opportunity terrorism, and I've weighed in on both sides. I'm not sure. But regardless of whether you are in its genocide camp or its equal terrorism camp, I think one truth that Nigerians can live with is this: in some zones, Christians are disproportionately targeted. And that is why I identified their own war separate. I call it the genocidal war, as one of the quadra-headed war that we are fighting. Churches are attacked, clergy is kidnapped, villages are overrun. We just saw it on TV, where a small church in Kwara is just worshiping their God, and they're right there on that live stream. They were run over by emaciated-looking terrorists. I'm coming to that in a minute. So there's too much evidence to deny that there is genocide going on in parts of the north. In other zones, banditry and terrors kill Muslim, Christians, and traditions alike. We get that. That's a separate war. That's why those 4 classifications of the wars we are fighting is clear. Bad diagnosis gives birth to wrong solutions. Another odd button issue, which is related to this one I just finished talking about, is it government complicity or is it government incompetence that we're dealing with here? Because as a consultant, that's the way I'm trained. You have to first diagnose. Government apologists will tell me, like the Renu Amokris of this world, the lawyer Bayo Onanugas, will swear with their mother that government is not complicit in what is going on. That is only the work of the devil, blah, blah, blah. But the question most politically neutral Nigerians like me are asking now is, if government is not complicit, then why does it look so helpless? If you know where the terrorists are, how come they are still breathing? Why does it allow even some of the terrorists on their own most wanted list? We are seeing them in public, collecting chieftaincy titles, collecting emirship titles, while surrounded by the same police and military that are allegedly looking for them. It looks bad for the government. I saw one in somewhere in the northeast collecting chieftaincy title. Somebody that is number 3 on the most wanted list of our government. And he had police around him, Nigerian police. He had Nigerian military. So we have to start entertaining the idea of complicity of government officials, because what we see daily is intelligence failure, how they can even capture our own general and kill him, and nobody is mad. Operational weakness, corruption, and institutional decay. Truth is, when our state can't protect lives, it cannot complain when citizens start accusing them of being in on it with terrorists. Whisper number 4. See, because this one really, makes you wonder. I call it the what is the word now? The inexplicable tolerance problem. In serious countries, terrorists don't hold press conferences from forests. They don't film their convoys in daylight. They don't become folk heroes by default. They don't do TikTok videos to mock the family of the victims whose lives they just took. Yet in Nigeria, we witness it on a daily basis. Nigerians watch criminals behave like landlords, and they ask themselves, at least I'm asking, why is there no public shaming and naming and decisive crushing of these guys? Silence in the face of terror is not neutral. It is complicity. Even Jonathan government, the president came out and said, some of these terrorists, they are in my government. And he got away with it. Nobody dragged him hands on, name them, make it an issue, get our senators to have him investigated. If the president knows them and he said they are in his government, how come they are still operational? Nigerians are wondering. Another hot-button issue, the politics of insecurity. I'm seeing this as an analyst. I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, okay, why is it all of a sudden this, to use Yoruba language, my apology to those who don't speak Yoruba, I will translate. Ajekela no mokuleni, who does not know Tani Omokwaje Lokpa or something. In other words, the witch cried yesterday and the child died today. Who doesn't know that it was the witch that killed the child? All of a sudden, we're about to get into 2027 season. All of a sudden, insecurity broke out at a level that nobody can ignore anymore. We know it's been there. But what happened in the last 3 months to 6 months to now make it like something that just started? I call that the politics of insecurity. What I will characterize as GEJ removal formula. Now, it's me coming up with that. Nobody's said it, but I can say whatever I want to say. This is what I'm thinking. Let's speak the truth without fear. Insecurity played a major role in the rage that defined the 2015 transition. So yes, many Nigerians suspect that violence was allowed to fester and then weaponized politically against Jonathan Goodluck. Now, I'm asking myself, is that suspicion provable as a coordinated elite conspiracy? No, it's going to be hard to prove. I'm a lawyer, it's tough. But the political memory for me is very real. I know why I was so much against Jonathan. It was over this insecurity matter. And I did not care who succeeds him. That's why we never vetted Buhari very well. If I had vetted Buhari, there's no way in heaven and earth I would have supported that man. But I did, to my shame and embarrassment. But it is so easy to look at that if you don't know the context. Jonathan was so bad, or at least was portrayed as so bad, that every one of us, at least those of us who love Nigeria, who don't care about party, we like anybody but Jonathan, but we got Buhari instead. So the political memory is real for me. And I don't want us to be railroaded again this year. Because now some citizens fear a recycled version of that is coming for 2027. They are repackaging the same formula, and now we are saying it. So we have to address that. Now, this theory may not be correct. I'm not saying I have definitive knowledge, but the fact is, once insecurity smells like politics, to me, every corpse becomes a campaign poster. Somebody is campaigning for something in 2027, and we need to watch them. We need to check it out. Number 6 angle to this, I call it the odd buttons. Because if you want to deal with issues, you identify the key areas in the problem in the company, then you profile solutions to them. I see another angle here, the military cabal angle. Nigeria has a trained, battle-tested military. Yet citizens watch ragtag killers. Like I mentioned, I watch those guys in that quarantine. Are those the people our military cannot crush like a bug? Even our Raisa boys in Lagos will deal with those boys. We watch ragtag killers who are holding territory for years. And we have to ask, how can a professional army that is respected in Guinea-Bissau, that is respected in Niger, that is respected all over West Africa. How can that same army struggle with men who look barely trained? I don't know how many of you have seen a well-trained bandits before. I've not seen one. I've not seen a well-trained terrorist. I've not seen one. I've not seen a well-trained kidnapper. All those 4 wars that we are fighting, I don't see any of them. Maybe ISWAP is the only, but their own war is a bit different. And yet, the Boko Haram conflict is still deadly. Factions still clash violently in the northeast. So the suspicion is growing. This is sabotage, corruption, or a war economy that is benefiting unseen interests. We saw what Dasuki gave us a hint. It's a war economy that is going on. And I wrote a whole book on it. I'm not here to promote my book, but it just came out. One country, one military cabal. We have to look at them here. Okay, another hot button issue, the shadow of 2027. We are 2 years from elections. Nigerians feel elites are already positioning while citizens are dying. When leaders start counting votes before counting bodies, then the nations become an altar for ambition. Our politicians are not dealing with this the way they should because they have an eye to 2027, and we must look at that. Number 8 here, citizen self-help is now becoming a hot button issue here. Because when the state becomes a spectator, then you can't expect the citizens to not go play the game by themselves. This is no longer a fringe reaction. Even establishment voices are now saying it. I don't know how you guys saw this, but when I saw David Mark, the former Senate president and a retired general, on video, speaking to Banwo citizens and telling them to go and start defending themselves. In fact, he told them directly on video. I don't say stuff I can prove on a forum like this. We all saw the video. He told them to go defend themselves, though he fell short of handing them guns. He even told them they should go and look for how the Boko Haram people are getting guns and go get their own. And I was flabbergasted. People didn't scream. This was David Mark, people, Senate president, retired general, urging people publicly to do self-defense. That's an invitation to anarchy. In my opinion, when a soldier says defend yourself, it is not a call to chaos anymore. It is a confession that government has failed in its most basic duty, and that's a shame. After all, self-help is what citizens do. When government becomes a spectator in their insecurity, is what estates do when the government can't protect them. Now we have vigilantes all over. Number 9 hot button. We are now the eye of the world for something very bad. The world is watching us. The Papiri kidnapping triggered a global alarm, even though some of this stuff has been happening. Now we got the Pope, Jesus. We've got the Pope Leo publicly appealing for immediate release of the remaining children and teachers. So when the Pope starts pleading for your children, you know your country is on life support. We got to look at that. And finally, of course, before I go to the solution, as my time starts to round down here, Trump's threat to intervene and my position on the matter. See, the US President, Donald Trump, publicly came out. In fact, he was one of the people that blew this thing out of proportion now. And he said he's considering fast military action, including possible airstrikes and even troops, if Nigerians stop, or rather, if the Nigerian government fails to stop what he framed. He went for the fourth war. He framed it as genocide against Christians, as if that is the only war. And then he said they're going to come in ablazing. Nigeria's presidency a country that couldn't even appoint ambassadors until yesterday. Our presidency says help is welcome, but sovereignty must be respected. Is this sovereignty we are going to chop? So that's my position, and it's very simple. I will not wrap it in diplomatic tissue. Why? Because only living people can enjoy sovereignty. Dead people do not. All those people that are dead in the north, they don't care whether Nigeria is sovereign or not. They're dead. And if your house is on fire, you don't reject a neighbor's water because you dislike his bucket, or because he's not a member of your household. You take the water from anybody running around, giving you water. And I think that should be our position. If Nigeria cannot stop this bleeding alone, and it's clear we cannot, anybody telling us we can't is deceiving us, then we need to get help from anywhere credible. I don't care, China, Russia, Belarusia, I don't care. We can debate semantics later. We can debate their motives later. Let's put out the fires first. Let Nigerians stay alive. So after all that talk, what is my own solution to the security for Nigeria? Way forward, because the topic was very clear. You have to talk about the way forward, and I love that. Here is my own 10 security rebuild plan before we go into the Q&A. See, for me, I'm very direct. I'm in your face. It's my style. It's always been. Okay? But it is designed to fight both violence and the suspicion that we have identified. As a consultant, that's how autonomously trained me. I've identified the problem. Now, here's the solution I think Nigeria needs if they were to consult me. Number one, we need to decentralize policing fully. Stop talking about it. Do it. State and community police with strict federal standards. One police force based in Abuja cannot securely police 200 and something million people. In fact, it's a crime against humanity that the whole of Nigeria has 30,000 police. And I know the president has said they should hire 20,000 more. Even 50,000 is a joke. What is the expected outcome here if we totally decentralize policing? We're going to get faster response, local intelligence better, trust in the police will be restored. I know there are negatives. Number two, recommendation. We need a national security, truth, and accountability commission. The reason why things don't move forward in Nigeria, we don't try to get at the truth. We don't hold people accountable. We need an independent, multi-faith, multi-religion audit of terror financiers, protection networks, and persistent failure zone. Why do we keep having failure zone in this thing? Is it engineered? Our expected outcome will be, it's going to kill conspiracy theories with evidence. We will know. Thank God Banwo is already helping us small. Now we know there is no longer conspiracy where the government knows the terrorists. Their own leader has said they know. It will restore credibility for our governance. Number three recommendation here. We need to rebuild our intelligence as our first line of defense, not something as an afterthought. We need fusion centers, serious human intelligence, drones. They are not that expensive anymore. I have a drone. What are people to hear? A small one to carry a camera, but drone is drone. They are not over expensive anymore. Data-driven early warning systems. Why don't we have that everywhere? When filmmakers have drones on their sets now, what is our expected outcome here? Prevention replaces condolence. Because if you can prevent, you don't have to go be condoling somebody who lost their father or their wife or their husband. Number four recommendation. If we are serious about this stuff, we need to make kidnapping unprofitable. It's a business. We have seen it. We've identified it. It's identified here. I name names in my book. So I'm not talking theory here. It's a business, an organized business. So we need to tackle it at the source, make it unprofitable. We need to track ransom flows, criminalize brokerage, where we even have some of our religious leaders trying to broker peace. In fact, I don't want to waste my time talking about that. Disrupt their laundering moves. And we have the economic system to track it now. We all have all these things in the banks now. We know them. The people who are behind this are the ones that need to be defanged. I've never seen a prosperous looking kidnapper. Somebody just collected 1 billion. When you look at them, they look worse than my megad. So we know those are not the people collecting the money. So follow the money, make it unprofitable, shut them down. And our ROI here, our expected income outcome will be the kidnap economy will collapse when the return on investment collapses. They do it as a business. When the ROI is no longer there, it will collapse on its own weight. But government don't want to deal with that, maybe because they know the kidnappers too. Maybe Reno and Mokri will tell us that one tomorrow. Now we know they know the terrorists. Maybe they will tell us they also know the kidnappers. Number five recommendation. We need to do what works in Nigeria. Public naming and shaming and targeted prosecution of terror networks. Nigeria, even the most wicked person likes to be perceived as a good person. That's why you see that people running up and down when the banks finally figured it out and they start publishing the name of debtors. They know our big men don't like to be seen as a debtor. I have friends who are running and having hypertension, almost died. because First Bank published their name that they owe money. And I was laughing. Who will care about that in America? It's just an image. You don't even know your neighbor here. So whatever they want to think of, you let them think. But Nigeria is different. We have extended family. We like to go to our friends' clubs. We like to go out and show a power. But when they already name you as a terrorist, they named you as a kidnapper, nobody will even come to your house. So when they get the evidence, we need to be doing that. Number 6, of course, we need a military reset. We need to have procurement transparency and battlefield accountability with our military. That's my number 6 recommendation. We don't have that now. Dasuki told us that they collected billions and they're sharing it to pastors, they're sharing it to imams, they're sharing it into things that's got nothing to do with our military. That's why we got here. Number 7, the ECOWAS Sahel Joint Operation Team, we need to go back to that with our border hardening. I call it border hardening and ECOWAS Sahel Joint Operations to stop arms and fighter inflow. They're coming in from outside the country. We need to stop that. Even America, as strong as it is, they are shutting their borders. Everybody can scream all they want, but they know what the cross-border thing that is coming from the Mexican angle, what is costing them. So why can't we do the same? Cross-border gang mobility, we need to check it. Our expected outcome there, terror pipelines will shrink. When it shrinks, then we can deal with it. Number 8 recommendation, we need security through prosperity. In other words, we need jobs and clusters in the hot zones. Terror recruits where hopelessness lives. And that is why we see that all those Albanjeri boys, all those that have no future, where you feel that you don't have a future and somebody puts a gun in your hand and say, let's go do this, you're not going to think about it twice. We need to really take on all these northern leaders who refuse to empower their people and take them out or make them do the right thing by creating job clusters in those odd zones. When people have a job, they don't have time to go and be doing Boko Haram. Number 9, we need a modern, and this part is controversial. As I'm rounding down, I think I have 2 more minutes and I'll be done. Okay, modern resource, I call it modern land or resource governance to diffuse harder farmer wars. Remember, I diagnosed the harder farmer war as one of the war we are fighting. It's different from the genocide one. It's different from the kidnapping one. We need to deal with that by modernizing our resource governance to diffuse harder farmer wars. We need digitalized land use, enforcing ranching transitions. See, the vice president, the former vice president, Oshibaju, he didn't have the liver to follow through. When they are talking this Roga in the whole of the country, the thing was presented in a very negative light, and then the thing died. But you have to ask yourself as practical people, like I always do when I'm consulting. See, yes, you own your land. But if me, as somebody who owns cows, I'm in the north, and there's famine, and grasses are no longer there for my cows to feed, and I know you have green grass in your house, guess what? I am coming. Survival is one of the strongest instincts of man. We can't keep talking rights when we know it's inevitable. There are cows which they worship mostly. There are cows which is their wealth. They're not going to watch it die. If they have to graze them on your land as a solution, that is what they're going to do. So once you know that, as they say in Yoruba language, when we are cooking it. In other words, the person that will not allow you to eat your food and be full, you will make provisions for him when you are cooking. We need to really clear-headedly, not all this is my land, their land, that kind of thing. As long as we're in one country, somebody has to give up some rights for others to be able to survive. So we have to go back to rethinking this ranching thing. This Ruga thing that they threw away, we need to look at it again and begin to think, how do we accommodate our brothers in the north? Because they're not going to go away unless you want to split this country. Even if you split the country, the first thing they'll do is fight the war. The north will fight those who have the land on them. Because why? They're not going to sit in their country and die. So we need to look at that. And finally, and this is for the politicians, I'm recommending a 2027 security non-partisan pact. All major parties need to sign and publish a pledge not to weaponize insecurity, not to sponsor militias, to support continuity of reforms regardless of election outcome, because a lot of this part is tied to this 2027, and we have to recognize that so that we can have the expected outcome from that, which is removing political oxygen from the terror wars that we are fighting right now. A lot of political oxygen is being given to the problem we have. That's why I also identified the GEJ connection. So my time is out. So here's my conclusion. Nigeria's insecurity has moved from tragedy to a credibility collapse of the state. If credibility dies, unity dies. If unity dies, Nigeria becomes a map, not a nation. So the choice is not between pride and partnership. The choice is between life and death. We don't need speeches about security. We need security that actually ends the need for speeches. And that's all I got. Let's get to it. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Okay. I think that's a very, very well delivered speech. And the way we do it here is that there are a lot of questions and people would like to engage you. We are going to diagnose some of your recommendations, 10 of them in all, which is very great. And you identified 4 major wars. You say Nigeria is fighting a quadra-headed war. Banditry stroke terror, the kidnap for ransom, farmer header war, the religious war, if you like, the genocidal war. And thinkers like you like to think and prefer solution, which is what I think this government should really be looking for. Get a group of thinkers that are not partisan, put them in one hotel room and say, people that do not belong to any party, I think Tinubu should really get that kind of thing. And whatever his advisors tell him, go to these people and, run it through them and see what they think. I hear my back office has a video they want to play. Many hands are up already. I'm not going to engage you on any question of my own, but I can assure you that members on this platform are very, very well informed. I am sure you're laughing. You are seeing some of the hands already.
I've seen lots of professors here. I'm in trouble today. I've seen a lot of professors here.
I hope you can all hear me. Hello?
Very clearly.
Okay, very, very better. Jumoke, are we ready for the video?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Faye, please go ahead with the video.
Let's just play the video, then we'll come to the question and answer session.
Endangered, but others say there are massacres and acts of persecution.
In Nigeria, in certain areas, there is certainly Christians and Muslims have been strong. Unfortunately, many Christians have died, and I think it's very important to seek a way the government and all people promote authentic religious freedom, especially
The government here has said that Christians are not endangered, but others say there are massacres and acts of persecution. Are Christians safe in Nigeria?
I think in that Christians and Muslims as well, because you're pushing the terrorism as a question. And I think it's very important to seek a way the government and all people to promote authentic religious freedom, respect for all.
The government there has said
Yeah, the audacity of it. These guys are very, very confident and the way they do these things. We'll just move straight into the question and answer session, and I'm sure people have various ideas. So the way we do it, we normally take like 3 comments or 3 questions, and if you can note them, otherwise, if you can't, we'll remind you of what they are. And I have the very first person, Boniface Chizia, then there's Aisha, then there's Joseph Folorunshaw, I believe. Yeah, Joseph Folorunsho. I will take those first three, then I'll come to Erabo Emopai, Yemisi Ramsenkuti, Professor Nike Grinch, the next set of three. So Boniface, let's allow Boniface to unmute and make his
So I'm going
contribution.
to start the timer because we have so many hands up. We're going to keep it at 1 minute, and you would hear the when your time is up, you will hear the sound. So let's unmute Mr. Boniface. We've asked you to unmute, sir.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right, thank you very much. My friend, you've spoken well. I like people who talk straight, talk to the point. There's time to play politics and there's time for us to come and say it the way it is. So I think that I like that approach. But since we have limited time, I think that we should look at, when we're talking of low-hanging fruits, we should begin to really think of. I'm glad the president is beginning to talk about partnering with Americans, he talks about sovereignty and so on and so forth. And I like your response to that. So I think that for us, that's the lowest hanging fruit. If these things didn't happen, this country was gone and gone and gone. You can imagine kidnapping 300 people in a place. What sort of audacity, what sort of impunity is that? You know what it is? You're not talking about kidnapping just 1 or 2 people, 300 children. And you take them and you put them in a place and you feel so secure. You're not even afraid that anything is going to happen to you. So I think that we should quickly bring on the Americans. I think it's very important, and this is not time for us to begin to talk about sovereignty. We should push back at the back and then make sure that, because we're not secure, like you said in your presentation. Then what is sovereignty all about? So we need to do that. We immediately also, I think that we should target the financiers. They are known overseas. Most of them have monies overseas. I think that's also, some of them are started running out of this country. So I think that we should target them and begin to, pin them down, begin to close their accounts and so on, freeze their assets and begin to deny them travel documents and so on and so forth. We need to have some urgent actions. I think that's very important. Well, I think that it's okay. All right. You want me to stop?
Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Okay.
Give you 30 seconds
Yes,
extra.
Thank you very much.
I can see many hands. It's tough today. Yes, thank
there
you.
will be an after party for more engagement.
Okay, that's fine.
Aisha, go ahead. Allow Aisha
We've asked you to unmute. Please go ahead, Aisha.
Hello. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Was it good evening? My name is Dr. Aisha Waziri Umar. I'm actually from Borno State. So I'm actually in Abuja now, but I come from Borno State and I've been involved in politics and humanitarian work at Borno level. So I have a lot of knowledge about the Boko Haram situation before it spread into kidnapping and banditry. So I just have 3 points to make. The first point I have to make is the issue of climate change. Climate change is the cause of this problem. It has caused water scarcity and it has displaced communities. And therefore, they've had to keep moving south. And as they're moving south, the water scarcity is becoming worse. And so one recommendation would be for government to address the issue of climate change. Number 2, the issue of cattle rustling. Cattle rustling started many, many years ago. And the Fulanis lost a lot of their livelihoods and their cattle and everything due to cattle rustling. And based on that, they started carrying arms. So again, that has to also be addressed. How do you solve the problem of or how do you even get them to settle down and give them livelihood? They don't have livelihood anymore as a result of many, many years of cattle rustling. Finally, related to water is this integrated water management agency. I'm a lawyer, actually, and I actually was involved in drafting the law that created this integrated water management agency. That agency is supposed to look at all our waterways, our rivers, and how the tributaries. And when it comes to damming and this and that, all that integrated water management is supposed to look at it. They need to be resuscitated. They've gone very quiet. President has to focus on integrated water management because water is a big problem. Thank you so much. I hope I haven't overdone my time.
Thank you very much.
Just by a little bit. but that's okay.
We appreciate you because you are from Borno State and you have a bit of more context. Maybe we'll be engaging with you to get some more details and context from you, Aisha. If you don't mind, Jumoke would like to take your contact and we can engage after this. Joseph Folarunshaw, go ahead.
We've asked you to unmute.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Joseph Folonshaw. I'm a journalist here in Lagos. I'm equally a criminologist. And I have a very big challenge. I'm trying to maybe the guests equally help us. What do you think is wrong with us that a general in Nigeria army was killed just like that? You don't see that seriousness that this is a big problem. The second one, I have several interactions with Shegumi, with him. And many of the interactions, as a government know in and out of what is going on. What do you think we can do for government to know that this is an aberration, that you swore to protect life and property, people are dying, it's as if it's not the issue. And the last one, as a journalist, if I don't know what people like the guests can help us, and our very, very respected Pastor Itua, if we are not careful, a time is coming that even we journalists, to discuss this issue, we know a lot of challenge that we are having. Are we going to say this is going to be part of us? Or are we going to create a ministry just to be recording the deaths of Nigeria? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will allow Dr. Banwo to try and attack the first three questions before we go for the next session. Go ahead, sir.
Well, yeah, thank you, guys. I think those are very, very important questions. The first one on sovereignty and solutions, I think have been clear. We have too much pride in Nigeria for a country that can't even power itself 12 hours a day. And we need to start to swallow that. We've got a problem. Wherever we can find help, let's go get it. And the fact that some people are even abusing Donald Trump and abusing those who are trying to help us tells us something else. People don't want this problem solved. The government should have jumped at that, and I've said it the first week Donald Trump mentioned it, that listen, the Tinubu should actually call his bluff and actually now say, thank you so much. You don't need to come up blazing. We want to work with you. We need you. Letting them line up that we're inviting you officially. Okay, and then you list what you want from them so that you can still be in control of the narrative as they come by. Now, the Marines and co will have been here. If you say, okay, we want you officially, write them a letter now. Please come, bring this, bring that, let's do that. But they don't want to do that. Maybe because they have ulterior motives. Because we know they have their phone numbers. They didn't do anything to them. So maybe they're going to explain to us why that is a problem. If you don't like America, go get it from China. China won't even give you any. China just wants our money. Anyway, it's only America that is trying to be the world daddy. And we all abuse it. China is not helping us. Russia is not going to help us. So I agree with you, sir. So we need to target their finances, like you said. I don't know why that is not done. Our banks are robust now with all this BIN, TIN thing that we all put in there. You know where the money comes in, at least for the big boys. What are they doing about it? The kidnappers are not keeping the money in the forest. They're giving it to somebody because they still look underfed. Those ones that I'm saying, they are not the end collectors. And Jonathan told us before, some of them are in his government. Anyway, I'll leave that. The one that really trips me, that second question from Aisha about climate change, I think we are underestimating it so much and we are not resolving one of the biggest wars that is actually killing more people, this banditry and communal wars, okay? The war, a lot of it is got to do with survival. And where people are not surviving, you cannot have peace. Climate change is peppering them in the north. It's a fact. And if it is, and most of those communities, they rely on agriculture and they rely on their cows. And if they are being decimated and our government is not doing anything either to help them with the climate control thing to make sure their grasses don't die, or we're not helping them for them to make use of some of the lands that have no use in the south. I know this is not going to be popular. That was the whole premise of Ruga, that all of a sudden the first set of people attacked it, and from there it snowballed downhill. People stopped thinking. If you have 1,000 hectares of land that you're not doing anything with, you're not even farming it, and somebody has 10,000 cows that he cannot feed, why won't you want to accommodate them? Work out something with them. That was the whole premise of Ruga. Okay, so we need to go back to a different, how we are going to help each other as long as we are in the same country. Because this climate change, and thank you, Aisha, for that, we need to focus more on it and how we do that too. Because it was something that I glossed over. Water management. You think anybody can survive without water? You want to have peace in the south when in the north they don't have water to drink? It's illusion. They're going to come. Go and look at North and South Sudan. You can separate the country if you want. If one side still doesn't have, you are going to deal with war. So it's a very important thing for our government to take note of this climate change thing. The water management thing is something they need to invest in aggressively. If you want to keep the northerners in the north, then you need to work very hard. Okay? I know water issue is all over. I get that. But where some people's livelihood, their cows, is tied and there's no way out, they will come to Jebugbo if they have to come. That's exactly what's going to happen. So we need to figure out how we make sure that doesn't happen. And finally, because it's a shame of a nation, that last question, where we are having a general in our army. I don't even care his identity. It's a general in our army, kidnapped by terrorists and killed. And heads are not rolling. They are not decimating the place. They are telling me collateral damage. Collateral damage be damned. You will decimate that place. Obasanjo gave you the template. You don't kill Nigerian soldiers. You don't kill Nigerian police. In America, you cannot do that. Kill a policeman. Even the worst criminal know that the worst thing you can do is to kill a police. Because everybody will pay the price. Your neighbor, everybody. Obasanjo decimated OD because they killed some soldiers. He did not care. He decimated them. That is how you show power. We are not the ridicule of the world. They carry our general, they kill him like a sheep on the street, and then we say we are fighting terrorism. We are making phone call to them. That's what I have to say on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ope. We'll take the next set of questions. My uncle, Erabo Emokpai, Yemisi Ransome-Kuti, Professor Adenike Grinch. We'll take those three in that order, and then we'll move to the next three. Mr. Erabo Emokpai, go ahead, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much.
Good evening.
I would like to say many thanks to for your brilliant articulation of the problem, which was so clearly analyzed and dimensioned. You also went on to ask, what's the solution? You provided a multi-step approach. I fear, however, that the problem is complex and needs a complex solution, but at the end of the day, we need to keep it simple. And so I'm asking, what's the one thing, what's the one element that's common to everything that will make it, what's the failure point, will make or break it? I think it lies around political will. And political will also requires national consensus, which has been very difficult to achieve. No matter how laudable a goal is, you will find one side saying another thing just because interests are so diverse and divergent. So that's one. For me, if you ask me what's the one thing, I think it's reestablishing the rule of law, which has to do with consequence. No matter how small an offense, up to the very highest level, if there's no consequence, bad behavior will be encouraged. So, for example, we talk about, I'll just talk about something else, cause and effect. We know that if you can identify the cause of something and remove it, you're going to get a different effect. So I'm glad to note that you aligned with Aisha and those comments. That's very fundamental. But beyond that, how do we find that one thing that can ensure that we do these many things? I know it's a big question to ask, but hey, this is where we are.
Okay, thank you. That's a great question.
Thank you, sir. We'll go to Auntie Yemisi Ransome-Kuti.
Good afternoon, Dr. Banwo. This is Ms. Ransome-Kuti here. Your presentation, as always, on point and very honest about diagnosing what our situation is about. The one area I'm a little bit conflicted on is the area of sovereignty of a nation. It is, to me, it is a technical matter. We are a sovereign nation. Whether we're behaving badly or that we have issues, we are a sovereign nation and we fought for that sovereignty. People died for our sovereignty. We are a sovereign nation. And that gives us the power to define how we engage with others. So what I would advise is that the government should admit that yes, we have issues and define the engagement with whether it's America, China, or whoever. And so that at the end, we control the narrative, we control the outcome. Because my husband is beating me doesn't mean that I should leave him quickly and go and marry a rapist who would behave like what Americans did in Libya, Afghanistan, and Iran, etc., etc. So that's one point. Last point is I would like you to please tell us how a community policing paradigm will look like, because I think that's what we all want. We want the communities to be able to organize themselves better. So can you please give us your ideas about what community policing, how you and I can be involved at that very level of engagement? Thank you so much for all that you have said and all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. We'll take Prof. Prof, go ahead, Ma.
Thank you very much, Dr. Banwo. How I wish that our leaders could analyze situations as you have done and come up with solutions. Obviously, we haven't got them, and that's why we're in this situation. Now, my own contribution has to do with what can be done from the diaspora. You are a member, distinguished member of Nigerians in the diaspora, and here you are with all your knowledge and what you can contribute to this. It seems that you will hardly be given the opportunity to do so. So, how do we reshape our, our power in the diaspora so that, we can be taken seriously when we carry out our own advocacy? Let me just give one or two suggestions that have been floated around. One of them is, first of all, we should get voting rights. Our voting rights must be guaranteed. Secondly, is it possible to have a kind of seventh zone for Nigerians in the diaspora? In other words, they also have a ministry in Nigeria, etc., etc. So I just would like you to speak to that. Thank you very much indeed. It's wonderful hearing and meeting, and we haven't met yet, but we will meet, I hope, sometime. Somebody like you, there's so many Nigerians like you. Unfortunately, you are not being your contributions are not being noticed, are not being utilized. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. All right, you can deal with those three.
All right. Well, I'll start with the first one, obviously, from I think that's Rakbo. Thank you so much, sir, for your contribution and the question. You wanted to my thought on one central thing or one central point that can really encompass all the solutions we need. The sad news I have, number one, we have a quadra-headed war that are really independent wars. The problem of the genocide war is totally different from the problem of the communal wars. So we are really not going to find a one side fits all solution, and I think that is part of the problem. We are thinking that we can. But if I may venture, okay, because again, you don't run away from the question. As I'm thinking about it now, if you are to ask me, I will say for the North, which is these burning places, the number one solution that will get all solutions in place should be literacy, education. There's a reason why Awolowo said people didn't really diagnose that. The thing that was most important to the man was free education. And that is what has set us apart. Most people in the South, when we say somebody is not educated in the South, they at least have secondary school. That's how we even think. We say they didn't go to school, but lost secondary school. In the North, they don't even go to primary school, many of them. That is why the other points of failures can happen. That is why their leaders can decide that they are going to chop all their money and nobody's calling them to account. That is why they are not going to have anything to train their majority. That is why they don't have. There's so many reasons, so many things tied to the lack of education in the North. And I'm talking at the base level. So for me, an aggressive literacy campaign. Now, when I say literacy now, okay, I'm talking about literacy in the modern, in the conventional Western education, because that's what they're going to need to survive in the world. Because they will tell you their Algeris are educated in Arabic and whatever. What are they going to do with that when they come to Lagos? What are they going to do with that when they go to America? So that to me is number one, I think on a what I call on a macro level. And their leaders are deliberately keeping them undereducated, because that is what makes the feudal system work. So if you are looking for a central solution, you are basically saying you need a solution that would destroy the feudal system on which they are based. And I don't think they're going to agree with you on that. So it's tough. But if I'm president, that would be my primary objective. Education will be free, and I will aggressively make sure everybody, you will go to jail if your child does not go to Western education. And that is why Boko Haram don't want it to happen. Okay, because they know that once people, there's something they cannot do to us in Lagos, Ogun State, or your state. It's not possible. Why? Because the average person is educated. So that is what I would say. But generally, I don't think there's a one shoe fits all that can solve 4 different type of wars that are focused on different things. The one on genocide is very different from the one on Boko Haram. To go to that's the best I can say there. On the one from Mrs. Ransom Kuti, all we're going to say first, I know I'm not going to need to ask whether you are related to the Ransom Kutis that we know. So I just want to, on behalf of Nigeria, just thank your family, because every one of them, they've made contribution. The one that is doctor, the one that is a musician, they've all been dealing with these issues of Nigerians forever, starting from your matriarch. So thank you so much to your family for what you've been doing and what you are doing. But to come to your question about that we're a sovereign nation, I will only tell you in the broken. Now, sovereignty we go chop. See, that you only talk sovereignty when you are in control. And by the way, let me disabuse your mind, man, with all due respect. You made a statement that we are a sovereign nation. We actually fought and died for it. That's not true. And that's our problem. Nigeria never fought for independence. We never died for independence. It was given to us because some people were speaking English. Other people got their independence by going to war, by fighting their oppressors to a standstill. So when they get it, they know what it means. We never fought the war of independence. So don't say we fought for it. We spoke for it. And it's a very big difference. And it's part of why we don't appreciate it today. But having said that, I know the world recognizes us as a sovereign nation, and we have our borders and all that. But I am saying, if you cannot deal with situations yourself, you look for help from outside. When we cannot solve our communication problem, we want to look for people who will come and help us. Why can't we do that? For security. A lot of the solutions that we have in Nigeria today has been foreigners bringing it, with all due respect. So why can't we then sit down like intelligent human beings and try to then bring in foreign help in a structured manner where we may also be in control of the implementation? Trump has opened himself up by saying, I want to come in at blazing. All you need to tell him, Babako Toye, come, let's do this, and then be serious about it. Look at the delegation they sent to US. It's an embarrassment to us as a nation, with all due respect. We have people like you are living in. You saw there was one lady there, talk okay, But guess the highest person they met? A congressman. Nigeria, 250 million, biggest nation in Africa. They can't even walk it to the level that before they go, they have to see the head of the Senate or the president. If president said he will have seen us if we know what the heck we are doing. That is the job of the Ministry of External Affairs. They should be fired there. We send a whole delegation, and all the committee, the highest person they met with was some lowly congressman. They didn't even meet a senator. They didn't meet Rubio. They didn't meet the head of the Senate. And we say we are a serious country. No, that even upset me more than anything. So our sovereignty means nothing when we're dying. People respect your sovereignty because you respect yourself. We say we're a sovereign country. We can't guarantee 8 hours of light a day for a nation that has the most intelligent human beings in the world. And I say with pride, we have 40 million unemployed. I wrote a book about that. We have 40 million unemployed in Nigeria. We can't solve the problem. And we are talking sovereignty. Sovereignty, my foot, with all due respect. At this point, people are dying. If this is Russia that will help me and help us to deal with it, then so be it. That's my own position. It doesn't have to be popular. To go to the the community policing that you mentioned, I think that is the only solution. That's how our estates are safe. That is already proof that it's working. We just now need to give them the enabling power so that it's not just a vigilante thing, but it is part of our laws. And it starts with full-blown state police. It is state police that will then go communal. It's the way it is in America now. The state police is different from the city police, is different from the county police. We have 3 levels of policing that are independent. We don't even have state one yet. You are talking communal. Okay? So let them first go from central, give the states autonomy to have their own police. Then the states will then have their own city police. And then from there, we go to community police. Because that is really where the real policing is happening, at the community level. But as it is right now, it's being done mostly illegally because there is no law that is. So to answer that, for it to work, we have to get the structure right. Right now, we're at the top of the pyramid. They need to then cut it down. Let's have the state, then we have the city, then we talk about proper communal, which is where the real security happens. And finally, for Professor Nike's question about diaspora, I'm personally embarrassed that we in diaspora, we are not having as much impact as we can, because we are not really working well. 1 or 2 that they added me to in the groups, I stayed there a couple of weeks. I said that they are not serious people. I just leave, or I just stay there and don't do anything. Because this is not, we shouldn't be about elections. And with all due respect, voting rights that you talk for is good, but it's irrelevant in the scheme of things. How many are we? How many are we abroad? We can't really change the course of elections in Nigeria. So it's not a deal breaker for me personally. I don't have a problem with us getting a voting right, but it's negligible in the scale of things. The diaspora, we are the engine room of Nigeria's economy. They can accept it or not. The remittances we send them every day is the second income generator for Nigeria. That has got to count for something. We are the best brains, not because the ones at home are not as smart, but because we have lived and experienced what good is. You and I live in a place where light is constant 24/7. We have seen how legislators relate to their constituents. So because of that, our experience abroad, it doesn't make us superior, but it gives us better context to know what is good. Somebody who grew up with 2 hours of electricity, okay, when they give him 4 hours, he thinks that government is the best in the world. That's why we shout up NEPA when they bring light, because we don't know better. But if you live abroad and you have experienced 24-hour light, there's no way you can ever be satisfied with a country who is giving you even 18. So we need to do better by structuring ourselves to be able to make ourselves be taken serious. Meaning, whatever diaspora organization, and I'm very happy to be part of it, where we structure well, register as an NGO properly, where there is no personal agenda other than to help Nigeria, where we can then, because if we organize ourselves well, madam, and you have someone like you, and other bigger guys, are much bigger guys abroad than even me, and we get some of them into that. If we want to meet with the president, you meet with us. But they can't do that when we have like 20 or 100 diaspora groups, everybody trying to please some politician to get some money. I'm not for that. But thank you, sir. My time is up.
Okay, thank you very much. Very insightful. Before I go to the next, just a point of correction. I thought the Nigerian delegation met with Pete Hegseth also, the Secretary of War.
No, they did not. Did you see them? Did you see the picture?
No, yeah, I did. I actually did.
Oh.
I saw
Oh,
the
okay.
picture.
Sorry, I didn't see that. I didn't
Yeah,
see
maybe
that.
you didn't see that. I actually saw the picture. Yeah, it's okay. Henry Kantebe would, I think you have unmuted. I'll take Henry, I'll take Timothy, I'll take Nero. Maybe I'll take the 5, and after that we'll begin to wrap up. So I have 5 hands up. I'll take all 5. Please keep to
Before
time.
we take those, Uncle Oga, before we take those, if you don't mind me just chiming in,
Yeah,
I think the point about the diaspora is very important.
Okay.
Because all communities, all diaspora communities have been able to influence policies that favor their nation. And this is a defining moment for the Nigerians in diaspora. Before the delegates from Nigeria came, the diaspora community should be at the table of saying this, even years before this happened, this is where we should be at the table with not just the US government, everywhere we are, where we have diaspora community, to table the issues and also come up with a strategic plan of how we can work with these other governments for the help that Nigeria needs. And yes, we are divided, but there are still a few good Nigerians in diaspora. We don't need the crowd. We just need willing people that are ready to step forward. And I'm going to bring this example. Back when Nigeria was listed on this no-fly zone with the underwear bomber, there were only 12 of us that met with the State Department at that time to really decry that you cannot label a whole country, put a whole country on the no-fly zone. 2 weeks later, or I think a week later, that issue was resolved. So this is an appeal. This is an opportunity for us to rise as the diaspora community, whether it's 5 strong people that are willing. And Dr. Banwo, I'm glad that you are a Nigerian American. There are consequences. My brother said, Brother Irabo said something about consequences and for action. I think you talked about freezing foreign accounts. Most of these players have residency in other nations. They have, whether it's their families that are citizens of those nations, we can hold them accountable. These are the strategies we need to start working together. 5, 6, and I believe last week we charged the Nigerian diaspora for collaborative change to come up with how we can make this happen, because that is really the key. Remitting money for people to survive is not good enough. We have a responsibility to build the nation that we can return to, that we can continue to help sustain. How are you going to keep sending? If even my small self, the funds that come out every week, just because people are dying from hunger, it's not sustainable, especially with this economy. So this is my own personal appeal to all diaspora, for all diaspora leaders, and I use the word leaders, to rise up and seize this moment and help stop the bleeding in Nigeria. Thank you.
Yeah, if I
Henry,
may chip in quickly, before you go,
yes.
just to chip in here, because you are raising a very important point. I'll be more than happy. I don't really know where they are, to be honest with you. I've not been engaging, and I would love to. What you said is very correct. Shore, for instance, gave us a formula to hold them accountable by actually filing charges of money laundering against them. I was very interested in that. I've got a pretty decent law firm that we can file these things. But where do we get the data? Where do we get? So we need to
take that
coordinate our
offline.
efforts.
Let's take that
All right.
offline. I have your contact. I'll reach out to you, and then we'll take it offline. Okay. I just don't want us to give out too much here.
Okay.
Mr. Kentebe, please go ahead with your question, and then we'll take Uncle Oga. You said you wanted 5. So we'll take Mr. Kentebe. We'll take Timothy Newbie, and we'll take Nero Fafora. Please go ahead, Henry. 1 90 seconds, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sister Jumoke, and thank you, Dr. Banwo. I just want to add to, my name is Eric Kentebe once again. I'm a regulatory affairs professional. I'm joining from Toronto, Ontario. I just want to add to the another talk context to the problem. I think we are dealing with two-headed monster in terms of the insecurity, and one is economic in nature, which we can say it's armed robbery, kidnapping, money laundering, even terrorism financing. You know, is part of the problem, and kidnapping and what have you. That is economic in nature because some people are just in need for money. And the other one is ideological. They just want Nigeria to become a Sharia state. You know, that's for the problem statement. In terms of the solution statement, I think the question we should ask ourselves is, why is our system producing idiots to lead us? That is actually because I didn't see that in the solution. You know, because take for instance, we live in the modern society. We know that government don't share money every month. They call it allocation. It's abysmal. It's unheard of. They share money every month. That's why you are producing idiots as governors, and that's why we are not even developing local government. Local government is dead. The reason why we are in this problem is because local government is dead in Nigeria. And why are local government dead in Nigeria? Because we are producing idiots. They are just sharing money. So I want you to have that in your context as part of the solution, is to stop this nonsense allocation they are sharing every month. It's unheard of. It only happens in Banana Republic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Timothy, we've asked you to unmute. Please go ahead with your question. Timothy, we've asked you to unmute. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. The presenter, I really want to appreciate your presentation and the comments that we have had. I'm Professor Timothy Benganubi, the professor of Housing and Urban Regeneration, University of Lagos. I'm the director of the Center for Housing and Sustainable Development. I've listened to so many things based on assumptions. The first assumption is that we have a nation. That's an assumption. Another assumption is that I heard that to protect our boundary. Do we have boundary? So this a lot of assumption has been going on until we address these assumptions. There's not going to be any security solution. One, do we have a country? Two, do we have boundary? Those that assume that we have boundaries is because they've not traveled to the northern part of Nigeria. I did my NYC, and we go in and out of Niger when I was in Sokoto. No boundary, no border. The same thing in the northeast. We are talking of desert with no boundary. So all these solutions, they are based on the assumption that we have a nation with a boundary. We don't have boundary. Anybody comes to Nigeria and live at will. We are providing solution, assuming that we have a nation, we have boundary. We are not considering international issues, problem in Niger, problem in Mali, and the movement of these bandits and militants. We're not considering them. Then the last thing I want to mention is that I asked a few days ago, do we need to wait for Donald Trump before we stop demolition of houses in this country? It's on record that in the last,
I have to
5
stop
years.
you. I'm really sorry, sir.
Okay.
Because of the hands, we are way past 2 minutes now. Thank you so much. If you could put your comments in the chat room, we can follow up with that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you,
I'll
sir.
do that. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Mr. Fafawura, please go ahead with your comments. And I think we're taking 5.
Thank you so much. I listened to everybody's contribution and I've been so blessed. But I dare say that the problem of Nigeria is multidimensional, that we all know. And every sector of the community should rise up and take this areas, this terror thing as very serious. The ones that disturb me a lot is the Christian community, the Christian leadership in particular. You know, these things begin to look like it's Islam versus Christian. And we know that is not really the case in many instances. What are our Christian leaders doing? PFN, and do they try to engage their contemporary in the northern part? Do they try to speak to the Islamic community, to engage with them, to try and find a common ground by which these problems can be solved? But you see, our Christian leaders, they just behave as if, Batata Kitty, like I always say, like as if they have their own kingdom. Everybody has his own little kingdom, building empires all over the place. This is not going to help us. What can we do? Can the government do something? Do we have a government? I don't know. I rest my case. Dr. Okpe, thank you for your brilliant contribution.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for those comments, sir. Prince Emmanuel Odige, please go ahead, sir.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Dr. Banwo. You know, it's not rocket science. You know, communal policing is the way out of this problem. And reorientation of our police force. You know, Nigerians do not have confidence in our police men and women, our officers. Anytime you come across Nigerian police, they are extremely aggressive. They don't smile. If you are not friendly, how can you get information from the populace, from the citizens? If you don't interact, see them on the highway, park, hey, I've once stopped and I went down. I said, gentlemen, you are a Nigerian like myself. Why shout? Why are they aggressive? Why are you so aggressive? Our policemen are too aggressive. They should first reorientate the police, increase the force. Without local government, a functional local government with proper communal policing, there is nothing we can do about insecurity. Without securing our borders and the political will, there is nothing we can do. As talking about diaspora voting, right to vote, those of us in Nigeria, we vote, our vote does not even count. There is a Nigerian commission. Obasanjo created diaspora in diaspora. I was part of that commission. I think the diaspora should first ensure that those who vote in Nigeria, that vote counts. The voter apathy in Nigeria is huge. In Anambra election the other day, about 20% or less came out to vote out of registered voters and PVC collected. You know, people don't have confidence in our electoral process anymore. Let us first do that before we think of diaspora right to vote. Let us see how we can ensure that local government is functioning. The right people, retirees, men of honor and integrity should be council chairmen. Not these illiterates that cannot read nor write. That is why such platform is a place where we should encourage intellectuals, men of honor and integrity, to begin to participate in politics. Without that, we can never get it right. Look at the moron in some local governments. They don't even know what it takes to lead.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Banwo. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Uncle Francis, please go ahead with your comments.
Oh, thank you very much, Madam Jumoke. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. May I first of all start by thanking very much our presenter today, Dr. Okpe Banwo. God bless you. And thank you very much for what was a very stimulating contribution. I really wonder where to start from. But I want to leave us just with one message, and that is your allusion to the diaspora and what we need to do. That conversation was generated by Sister Jumoke's response to one of the questions. the diaspora has to wake up. We have to wake up. You have actually addressed one of the most critical issues we have to work on, and that is follow the money. Whatever is happening in Nigeria, the corruption we have in our political system, the kidnappings, the banditry, all that are, many of which are related to looting our resources, that is the minerals, as you have had it in Congo for the last 40 years, as you have it ongoing in Sudan. That's what the rogue political class and their, including their internal and foreign backers, are all about. It's all about money. So if we have any serious diaspora group, we should focus on tracing the money. You did make a reference to Showore, and very good example he was making, or I hope he's still making, with Wike of the Federal Capital Territory. That's exactly what we should be doing. We have actually made a proposal, which we call Project Consequence. So in fact, I'm saying this purely so that I can talk to you directly on this platform and reach out to you subsequently, because that project has not taken off, not because it's not a good idea, but because, as usual, most of our diaspora fellows who come to organizations to talk about Nigeria, I'm sorry to say, many are self-seeking, very unfortunately. So here I am seeing somebody who I believe is committed, and I'm saying this between you, me, Dumoke, and others who are so like-minded. We will take that up and hopefully begin to work on that. That is the way to go. In addition to whatever thing else we are doing in Nigeria, we have to follow the money and prosecute these folks. Thank you very much. God bless you again.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll take this last hand, which is Hope, and then we just address everything together, if you don't mind. Hope, please go ahead with your comments or your questions.
Yeah, hello. Good evening, distinguished members of this beautiful and esteemed panel. I'm grateful to God that today I'm not as incensed as I was last week. Today I'm gonna talk normally, not with so much passion as I spoke last week, although my point remains the same. When we have a society that is so diverse as we have in Nigeria, again, I will repeat what I said last week. What we need is the rule of law. We need to have our laws respected. We need to have the judiciary wake up. They are the ones who are going to bring back sanity to this nation. I say that to say this. I think Mr. Nuri mentioned that being in the north, somebody from Sokoto or Katsina or Kano or Jigawa feel closer to somebody from Niger Republic or Chad than to somebody from River State. They feel more closer affinity with those people in the other countries that border northern Nigeria than they do to people from the south. This is reality. I think if we just try to be real and understand ourselves in this nation, we would do better. So, but it doesn't matter who we are. It doesn't matter what we believe. The only thing that will keep everybody on the straight and narrow is the rule of law.
Thank you.
We have to appeal to the judiciary. We have to, and I want to applaud, I want to congratulate the Nigerians in diaspora. We couldn't be having these conversations we're having today with the intervention of the foreign nations if the diaspora had kept quiet. The diaspora is doing well. Yes, we can do better, but I want to applaud Nigerians in diaspora. They've done pretty well to draw attention to Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments. Over to you, sir.
Yes, I think I'll start with the diaspora one at the end because I have diaspora, and I will keep saying it again. I'm not going to make you divulge much information, but I think Jumoke, we should hook up Why? Because I can trust you. The reason why I withdrew from many of them, like I said, I couldn't tell who is trying to be self-grandizing or whatever. But you have been consistent enough with Pastor Itua. You've been doing this for years, and I know that you mean well. So I'll contact you privately, and I really want to get involved with the one that you are involved with. So that way we know that we're working towards nation building, not sort of trying to build some kind of a personal profile. All right. So, Madam Hope, I appreciate you so much. You talk about the rule of law. It always comes down to it. And we have to be in the forefront. I'm talking diaspora, have to be in the forefront of pushing for that. Why? Because many of us in Nigeria don't know what that is. And I don't say that in a condescending manner. And that's why they fight us. Because sometimes when we talk, they take it in the wrong perspective as if we are trying to say we are superior. I'll be the last person to say that. But you can't know what something is if you have not lived under it. Okay? We hear rule of law in Nigeria. The typical Nigerian person, other than the ones that have been exposed, who have gone abroad, maybe they live in Nigeria, but they travel often, the typical Nigerian person doesn't know what that is. He still thinks it's okay, for the wife of a connected person to have him arrested, and he's fighting about getting himself released. He's not fighting about getting that man who had him arrested first prosecuted. We don't know that. Diaspora live under it. Nigerians, people in US, people in UK, people in Europe, they know what it looks like. So we have a responsibility to push that, even if they are abusing us. Because there's one thing my father used to tell me. People will not do what you expect. They only do what you inspect. So if you are not inspecting, you're not going to get it. And because we in diaspora, we know what it means for a leader to relate to the people, what the responsibility of our politicians should be in an ideal world, we are in a better position to push for it in Nigeria. Even if Nigerians think that we are being snotty or whatever, they just don't understand it. So that's what I will say about that. And I agree with you 100%. We need to come at them in a way where we are not seeming to be condescending to them, but where we are letting them know that this is where we have a strategic advantage to be able to help build a better Nigeria. The Shawara solution that I talk about extensively, I hope we'll start exploring it. I am ready. Like I said, I'm semi-retired in my law practice now. It's been handed over to somebody who's running a great job better than me. So I have time for Nigeria. If it is to be filing 2 petitions every month, what does it take? Petition doesn't take a week. I can file that in my dream. But we need to have a system to identify these people. Even the visa part, I'm an immigration expert myself. Why can't we help them where it matters? Okay, but we have to have the evidence. We have a government that is in America that listens to that type of thing now, where we send a petition on them every week. This is what this person did. We submit the proof. We are not going to victimize nobody. That's why I want to work with reputable organizations so that we don't turn it to another thing that is a problem for Nigeria. But where somebody is known to do stuff and we have evidence, we will write to the Secretary of State in America that this person and their family should not be given visa. And trust me, they won't give them. I know. I've been doing immigration law for 28 years. They're very strong on that now. That is where we begin to hurt them, but in a responsible way, where we have a control, we have an organization, we have a committee, so that people don't come and play vendetta, where we have to verify all of that stuff. But I will leave that for that 6 questions. So thank you, Madam Hope, for raising the diaspora responsibility again. I agree we have a responsibility to pay, and I'm willing to do my part. I'll go to Dr. Francis about the diaspora, that we have to wake up. That's the 5th question. I'm going from the back to the front now, okay? Because that's how I noted it, right? Again, still on the diaspora, that's question number 5. They resent us because, one, sometimes the attitude we come at them make them feel as if those in Nigeria don't know what they are doing, rather than us trying to let them understand that you might be living well where you live in your banana island, but you are still living a suboptimal life for what you could be living with what you have. And we have to say it in a way that doesn't look condescending, that they can understand and relate to. Okay? So to me, that's what I see, and that's why I stepped away from diaspora, over being aggressive on diaspora stuff, knowing that Nigerians just resent us. Every time we talk, it's like, come home and come and fight. Come home and come and fight. Nobody's coming home to come and fight. I'm not going to take my children from America or leave my comfort here to come and die in the mess that you guys created for yourself. No, I'm not going to do that. I can help, but it is your problem, is what my own answer. Okay, we need to get more aggressive, chasing money, chasing their money, and Project Consequence, sir. Whatever that is, I would love to know more about it. I like the word consequence. Consequence is what makes people behave better. I don't know what that is, but I'm interested. So if we can hook up later. I'll now go to the fourth question. Actually, let me go back to number one. The first question we got is the gentleman tried to identify that this is a double-headed problem. No, it's not, sir. I don't know if we are here at the beginning when I characterize the problem. I believe that we are fighting four different wars. Sometimes they're not even connected. I call it the quadra-headed insecurity wars in Nigeria. Number one, the kidnap for ransom industrial complex. That is a war we have been fighting for decades that leads to part of insecurity. That is why a rich man cannot be confident of traveling to some parts of the north because they'll be kidnapped, or some parts of the east. Okay, so that one is a national war, but it's also part of the insecurity problem. How you resolve that is different from how you resolve the genocide war. So the second war we are fighting is the terror insurgency war. That is the Boko Haram, ISWAP. Those ones actually want to colonize us. They have a political agenda, and they are coming. They are the ones that fear the most, ISWAP, because they have trained leaders. They have they are heavily funded. We have not seen the real ones yet. There is their suppliers they are sending, but they're coming. If we allow them enough room, their goal is actually to colonize and have a foothold the way they did in Syria. People might say I'm talking crap. I've researched this stuff. I wrote a whole book on it. Okay, so I know what I'm talking about. So that's a separate war. How you deal with that is different from how you deal with genocide. They are not focused on genocide. They are not focused on kidnapping for ransom. They are focused on taking us over and using us as a base for the global caliphate, Islamic caliphate. You have to understand that. That's the second war. The third war that we are fighting on insecurity is banditry and communal wars, which is a whole different thing. That is about survival. If you look at the North Central, most of the wars fighting there, sometimes Christian against Christian, sometimes Muslim against Muslim. It's over land, it's over grazing, it's over survival of their way of life. It's a different war entirely. Then the fourth war, of course, is the religious inflected war that we are calling genocide. So it's 4, it's not 2, sir. But I hear you in the way you diagnose it. Then you talk about stopping allocation. Nigeria is not like any other country. Okay, they can't stop allocations because they are taking resources from people's states. Okay, and government cannot just take the money; they have to distribute it to all the states. That's why we have allocations. But I hear you that is making people lazy. So if you want to do that, then you have to go full federalism, so that you don't take the oil from River State and come and share it to people in Kano State. Let everybody eat what they kill. Now, that is going to be true federalism if we really want to practice it. And that would take a lot of willpower. I think you're also the one that mentioned it, or somebody, which I'm not sure that we have. Okay, so why are we producing bad leaders? Still on your question, sir, that first question. Well, we produce bad leaders because the whole system is rigged against good people coming to contest. Because somebody told me the other day, you don't want to contest. Pastor Itua, he doesn't want to go and contest. If Itua contests, for instance, I'll be behind him 1,000,000%. I die there. But he's not going to contest for presidency. If he contests, I will sit in there and say, but boy, you are joking. He doesn't have the money. You have to have $1 trillion or $2 trillion to contest in the Nigeria of today, credibly. You have to be able to afford polling people that are going to pay to man your polling booths. Because even your supporters, I knew this when I was still supporting Peter Obi, okay? Even those who are saying we die for Peter Obi, when it comes to election, they want money to go and man the polling booths. So you have to allocate money for every polling booth, the campaign. So they've already taken it out of the hands of good people. So we can never have a good man who's going to rule us until Nigeria dies or they separate it, unless we have a billionaire who is now saying, okay, I'm now ready. I want to burn my money. Peter Obi is not even ready to burn his own money. I was one of his national directors. I had to print t-shirts for my own people. We had offices in 16 states. That's why I say I'm not doing again. Screw that. Okay? The man that all of us are trying to die for is not spending his own money. I'm spending my own millions when I'm not even a politician. I had offices in 16 states, confirmed. I paid for them, and I'm not even a Labour Party guy. So that has to change. And the primary thing that can change it is to allow for voters to support their candidates. When Peter Obi, sorry, I have to take some time on this because it's central to the problem we have. When I met him in Los Angeles, when they had this $1,000 fundraiser dinner for him, a $5,000 fundraiser, okay? I had 5 minutes with him. And I told him, let's change the context of this country. Let's allow you have passionate followers. Let them be the one contributing this money formally to your campaign, like they do everywhere else. You know what he told me? That Nigerian law did he was very reluctant. And it never happened. So I, as a good man, I say, Pastor, you two are going to run for presidency and be able to compete, not just a fringe guy, because you need money to compete. If they don't allow people like us to drop the money officially, legally, for him to tell his followers who want a better government to contribute to his campaign. Politicians don't like that. They think that it makes them think that they don't have money. They want to suggest it to the followers themselves. They are not ready to contribute into any campaign. So we're already shut out. That's just the bad news that you have to take. The good people are shut out. You want to run for Senate now, they're going to tell you need 10 billion. Even if I have 10 billion, will I carry it to come and say I want to come and run Nigeria, run as a senator, when I'm not going there to steal? So I will mortgage my children's future just to come and help Nigerians who don't care. So that is the major problem about why we are producing bad leaders. Because the good ones, when they put eggs small and they eat them for 3 months, they run. I've seen plenty from diaspora who tried it, my friends. So that is a major problem. We are talking about campaign finance. We are talking about changing our laws to allow the individual to be able to actually test his popularity with people. If they release Peter Obi today to raise money from the people in Nigeria, he will raise that 1 trillion they need. At least the Peter Obi of 2023, I don't know about the one now, I'm not supporting him, but the one of 2023, and we could have people like that. It work and then say, okay, I want to go, we can push him and say, okay, you have been talking about this thing, Africa leader, forget Africa, come and lead Nigeria first. But if he knows that his people will be allowed to contribute the money to allow him to compete favorably, then that becomes not his major problem, whether than to make speeches to get money. Then he can go. But now if he goes, people are going to be asking him to give them money for a website. He has to personally pay for people to even come and gather in front of his house. It's a mess. I'll leave that. Professor Benga, your question I really like. Okay, you talked about we made assumption. No, I don't assume that we have a nation. You won't hear me use that word because I wrote a whole book on that alone. It's called One Country, 256 Nations. Right? I haven't even launched it. All these books I wrote this year, I decided this year, all I'm doing is writing about Nigerian problems. And I handed over my law firm to my managing partner. Yeah, we are not one country. We are 256 nations in one country. And it does not necessarily have to be a bad thing. We can structure well where the 256, I use the word 256, just picked it up from the air, not that I know the exact figure, but maybe Nigeria will have at least 100 nations. Empower them to grow through federalism. And then, but until we do that, we can't keep thinking like America or UK or any other country. We are sui generis. We have to get that from the get-go. In the West right now, Ogun State is fighting to get Ijebu State and get Egba State or whatever. Okay, we are too many nations in this our country. We have over 200 languages. There's no other very few countries in the world are like that. So we have to solve our problem uniquely also. We can't ever have the kind of federalism that America has. Ever. It's not going to happen because we are not built like that. We have to look for our own homegrown solution. And I think that's the problem. Our constitutional guys, our legislators, they still think like America or think like London when they are in Nigeria. Nigeria is a sui generis nation. So we have to look for how do we make those 256 nations to function within the ambience of one country. Because I don't support breaking it up. I'm not going to do that. I know my time is about to be up once I see Jumoke show face there. Let me go to the next question. I'm going to skip those because that man really triggered me. I wanted to address that, but I have two more so that you can go. Mr. Aniran Fafora, you know you're my mentor. You know you're one of the people I look forward to my Egbon. So I don't even know if I can answer your question. Other than to say, Egbon, you are one of the serious senior Christians there. Right now, this thing that is happening, we are not hearing from the top Christian leaders. They are not speaking out in a way that is constructive. They shouldn't be talking genocide, with all due respect, because that has a whole different connotation. But they need to come out and speak in a way that is constructive for the government to deal with this issue of Christians being killed. But I'm not hearing from Adeboye. When I hear from Oyedepo, it's all anger. He can't be talking like me. I can be angry. I don't have anybody following me. He has to be more controlled. He has to be more inclusive in his solutions. Pastor Adeboye needs to swallow his anger, his pain with his people dying, and understand that it's a national figure and come up with national solutions to the problem that we have. Then leave all the anger to people like me who have 10 people following them. We can be talking in a more emotional way. But I'm not seeing them. I'm not seeing Ade Farasin come out and say this is the solution to the genocide in the North. I've not seen Pastor Adeboye come up with a position paper reasoned, okay, that he will address a national. If Pastor Adeboye say I will have a national press release, all of us will tune in and let him come out and give the government very good solution to this that is not biased in favor of Redeem, but that is balanced. So that's what I think, and you're one of them. You're a top person in Redeem. Talk to Daddy. Let Daddy gather his top guys together. Let them come up with a solution. That's all I have for you. And finally, Prince Emmanuel. I think that's the only one I've not responded to. He said we need a professional police, and how can they be when they are? Yes, you talk about national police. Sorry, I'm mixing up my head now. But my answer for you is that you cannot have a professional police when the foundation of your police force is faulty. Have you seen how your police is trained? Did you see that video when Jonathan went to visit their training place where your police are being trained in an atmosphere where they are using stone as their pillow? They're sleeping on the floor. I went there in Ikeja. I have the video and I was crying. I went after him. I was in tears. These people, when you see their food, it's like basically colored water in one big, it's insane. So they are trained like animals, and you are expecting them to be professionals on the field. The people that are sending them out to go and police the road, they demand that they make remittance at the end of the day. Otherwise, they're going to move them from the checkpoint. So it's a whole fractured police system. We have to rebuild it from ground up, starting with the training. The president got that right when he said we have an emergency in education, but he didn't follow through, other than for them to share money again. Because I didn't see any visionary restructuring in that his pronouncement. We need to rebuild the whole thing from scratch. And they get allocations for those training. All those fat cars, all those fat commissioners of police with their big stomachs, they've chopped all the money. It's not that we don't vote money. We vote money for these things. So the accountability has to start from there. You have to, now he said we should hire 20,000 more, thank God. But now their training should be thoroughly supervised to make sure that you are going to bring out, I just have to leave that. Because if you train Agberus, you cannot expect them to get on the street and behave like lawyers. And that's what we are seeing. And they are underpaid. They are underpaid. They are undercompensated. They don't have good health insurance. Sorry, madam, I'm done.
No. Thank you so much for your time. And I'll ask Pastor Sonny to come up. But I just wanted to take a couple of announcements before we close. It has really been a good time, and it's probably we can have this conversation over and over again. We've had a series of conversation around this issue for the past few weeks. So you've added quite a lot to it, and would have a summary of your recommendations. But I just wanted to add a couple of things that we are doing here at Tri-Africa Empowerment Foundation, also called ALG. We've talked about strengthening the local government, demonetizing politics, and part of what we're doing, just our own contribution to that, is we have a youth leadership governance development program where we want to train youths for position in the local government. And we're offering these courses to them for free. It's probably going to be an 8-week program, and we have a very robust curriculum. And I want to thank all those that have volunteered to facilitate some of these sessions. And there's still a call out for more, because we want it to be ongoing. So there's room for you to also joining, just put in, there's a form that I put in the chat room for you to fill if you are interested in joining Tri-Africa Empowerment Foundation, ALG. We talked a lot about the diaspora and what they should do. There's an organization, we challenged them last week that just come up with, do a town hall, begin to strategize on how you're going to bring the diaspora community together. So they're having that town hall, I think on the 6th of December. We'll be sending that flyer out to those of you in the diaspora that want to partake in that. And Dr. Banwo, I will be reaching out to you. And lastly, I want to wish all my American counterparts, my American siblings, let me call you my siblings, a very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. We're thanking God for keeping us, and just another opportunity for us to be grateful. It's the day that we pick out in America to count our blessings and be grateful for all that he has done. Grateful for all of you that continue to join us on this platform. We are thankful for you that continue to join us on this platform every Thursday. Thank you. Thankful for those of you that support in one way or another. We are thankful for your consistency and just for always showing up and not giving up on Nigeria. So thank you, everyone, for joining us again today. Thank you, Dr. Banwo. We could hear you for the next 2 hours and we will not be tired. But all good things must come to an end, and we have to close the session today. Sincere apologies from Mr. President. He had to step into another program. We always try to round up by 6:30, so because because of schedule. But this has gone over our allotted time. Good, but so he had to step away. So he wants to extend his gratitude for you showing up today and for your contribution, and to everyone that joined us this evening. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you again next week, Thursday, same Zoom link. Pastor Sonny, I don't know if you have any comments before we close.
No, nothing at all. Thank you very much. I didn't know Okwe was living in Trump's land, though. I thought you were here with me. When I see you,
I come all the time
on our television, arguing and talking so passionately.
It's from Zoom.
All right. Thank you very much. Very, very grateful. Thank you, everyone, for taking part. The after party starts.
Yeah. Thank you. I've unmuted everyone. So good to have you. Please fill the form. Please fill the form. Please fill the form.
Where's the form now? Where's the form?
Is in the chat room. Let me put it again. I put it in the chat room.
Have you stopped the YouTube recording?
Kai, please stop the YouTube file so that we can start our after party.
Okay. Who's going to serve the snacks? I'm waiting for the after party.
Thank you all so much. Oh, I think I'm host. So no, Faye, please stop the YouTube. I said stop the after party. Stop the YouTube.
Stop the party.
Yeah. Stop.
Dr. Okwe